Welcome to Om on the Range, where we share the practice of meditation, the wisdom of Western Buddhism, and the refuge of our community. Whether you are new to meditation or a longtime practitioner, committed or curious, this offering is here to share solutions, stories, and support. Happiness and better health are available to everyone. It just takes practice. This is Om on the Range. Hello and welcome to episode number 52 of Om on the Range. My name's Whit, and I'm your host, and this is a surprising and momentous episode for us. It's number 52. That means that after doing one episode a week for the last 51 weeks, this is our first anniversary show, which we are pleased and somewhat surprised about. So to celebrate, we have the heart and soul of the team on for this group effort. Steph Watkins joins us, and Tim Behrens is also with us. So Steph, I'll start with you. Welcome. How are you?
I'm doing great. And how are you?
I'm good. Thank you. Tim, welcome to the show again. How are you doing?
I'm glad to be here. Yeah, I'm doing great. It's nice to see you all. And wow, 52 episodes.
Yes, 52 episodes. So what we're going to do is just talk a little bit about the experience. And I'm going to say maybe a little peek behind the curtain, although I'm not sure we've ever actually bothered to hang a curtain for this attempt. But so let's start with how this all got off the ground. I think it would be fair to give Victor Doherty a little bit of the credit because he listened to this and liked the idea and blessed it, and then also kind of pushed to get started. Steph, how do you recall getting involved in this?
I recall us standing in the lobby of the Unity Temple on the Plaza after service one day. I think you and I were just getting to know each other, and you mentioned that you wanted to start a podcast. And I said, hey, Jen and I have a podcast. I know a little bit about it, and I'd love to be involved if I can be. And at that time, I didn't know how much involvement I would have with the podcast, but I knew I wanted to work with you. I just really like you, and I love your sense of humor and just the way our energy works together. So that's how it started, and we just took off from there.
Yeah, the way I recall it is that we were standing out there and we introduced ourselves, and I said, I'm starting a podcast, and you said, I know something about podcasts. And then I said, hey, do you want to be a part of this? And you went, yes, Rick, I do. So that's how we got here. God, that's close enough. Really? That's close enough. No, you were much more squared away than that. Tim, how about you? How did you get drug into this?
I believe it was Victor, too, that introduced us to each other, and he knew that I had a little bit of a technical background and that I had been doing another podcast for a group out of Denver. And if I remember right, got invited in more of an advisory capacity to see if there were things I could offer about what does it even mean to start a podcast? What do you start? Or how do you start? Where do you put it? How do you record it? All of those kinds of questions. And I was excited to be a part of that. But I also remember a little bit of a resistance at first because it is such a tedious journey to do all of the things that happen outside of the conversation itself, and I had done a lot with audio editing and things like that. And also not wanting to miss being a part of community. It's very hard to say no to those things. So I felt that resistance, but I knew that I had to do it. And then as we've gone along, it's like I just can't imagine not being a part of it in some way now.
Wow.
It's been a journey, and we've gotten to be good friends, and it's brought us closer in community. And yeah, I'm excited for that.
Yeah, it's been amazing to work with you two in particular. We've gotten a lot of support from the community. Tim, you helped set the workflow, which, by the way, I had no idea when you told me that you would help with that. I had no idea what that meant or why that was important.
Neither did I.
And also helped kind of set the parameters for what this would look like and how it would operate. And then about the time we got consistent there, Steph, you jumped in and kind of took over as the main producer. We don't have a lot of titles in this thing, so maybe in season 2 we'll work on that. But
title, I'm working on disidentification. I'm working on not having identity.
That's true. That's true. Trying to build a media empire and using Western Buddhism as the main focus is very difficult. talk a little bit about the subject matter. We all understood that meditation, Western Buddhism, and the power of community. Once we adopted those, I think it became pretty clear how we wanted this to go. But identifying what those things mean is something we kind of have to tackle every week. We stuck to the idea of being raw and real, which I think is a Stephism, but I think we all understand that. So, my first question about how we've moved forward, Steph, what's changed since you started? What's the program maybe, I don't know, brought out for you?
Having a routine each week, knowing that I have the podcast to look forward to editing, listening to 2 or 3 times, and letting the teaching from that podcast really sink in. I've really enjoyed that. It's like a bonus for me to not only do I get to be a little bit techie, I also get another teaching. So I really enjoyed that. And I'm enjoying getting to know the Sangha members as well. And I really have gained an admiration for you and how you can bring conversations back around. You just have a real knack and a real skill for being able to keep the flow of the show going. Yeah, I've really enjoyed studying your process and how you do that, how you get people to talk and how you can bring the conversation back to something that they said like maybe a minute ago. And it's just great. I've learned so much from listening to you, and I've learned a lot from the co-hosts that have been on as well.
Yeah, I think we've been blessed with really good support and also really good co-hosts. I think in a year of talking to different people about, hey, do you want to be on the show? It's been almost unanimous that people have wanted to do this. And it's a little bit of a challenge because people don't know what the process is. But I think that we've done a pretty nice job of developing a pretty casual, again, raw and real. That's not
Mhm.
just a catchy slogan, although it is a catchy slogan. It just is so helpful when you're trying to decide how to do this because you don't want it to be too controlled and you don't want it to be too committed, frankly, to a certain way it has to be done.
And you do such a great job of helping people talk about their story and get their story out. And I think the other thing that has really helped us over the year is that we have questions, guardrails, I guess you'd say, that we can keep people within the parameters of what we're wanting to talk about. And we send them our questions in an email or a text. This is what Whit's going to ask you. And
And then
or
he
sometimes,
won't stick to that.
yeah. And then sometimes I'm just going to say sometimes he may wander off a little bit, but he always comes back. And it really helps people that are a little bit more nervous about being on if they have a little bit of an idea of how you're going to run the show. So, we do have that in place now, which I think is great. A couple people I've had to do a preliminary interview with and just kind of get an better idea of who they are for your sake so
Right.
that you know their story a little bit before you come into it. So you're not coming in completely blind. Yeah.
Raw and real to me means doing absolutely no prep work. Turn it on and go, hello, how are you? This is your
Right.
friend Rick. Hey, Tim, how has this process and how has this experience been for you in terms of either growth or your practice?
It has been really great on so many levels. I mean, even just sitting here with you all in this moment and seeing how it feels relaxed to me. And I think there's a psychology behind podcasts. Steph, you've probably experienced this. I think anyone who's ever done a podcast has probably experienced that idea that when the little red light goes on, even if it's a metaphorical red light, but as soon as you know that you're being recorded, things change and you start thinking about what you're going to say and how you're going to say it and is it the right thing, and it's like kind of that critical self that comes up. And so it becomes almost a practice to allow yourself to relax in these kinds of situations. And then when you bring people in who are not doing it on a regular basis, also it becomes a practice to create space for them in a way that they do feel comfortable. And Whit, yeah, I agree. I think you do a really good job at that, like kind of leading the conversations and bringing things back around when they start to stray. And I think one thing that I don't know if we've talked about any for me is that when the red light goes off or when we're talking about what's coming next in some of our meetings after services, those have been some of the best conversations, that you have these wonderful conversations about the practice and what feels important and what's happening in community, that we'll talk, and then afterwards it's, I wish we had recorded that. I mean, it's
Yeah.
things that you want to, it goes from this like nervousness about how you sound to this desire and excitement to be able to share the things that are happening in the worlds with the people that you care about, with your Sangha and your community and anyone who might come across it. So for me, it's been really a journey of like, how do I be more comfortable just being me? How do I set that critical voice aside and just have the conversations that are so engaging and just alive that happen when the record button isn't on? How do we bring those into these spaces? That continues to be part of my journey, I think, and why I love doing this.
Victor, a couple times has said to me that it's another Sangha within the Sangha. It's another mini. And so I don't think that we thought about that when we started this. I know I didn't, but I do think it's true. And we've never had a podcast where there was a message we wanted to get out per se. We wanted to share stuff. We didn't really know what it was. Even when it's been the two of us, whatever that is, that combination of those of us, we've talked a little bit about what we're going to talk about. We don't know where it's going, and we certainly don't have a message that we're trying to share per se. Again, it's just what comes up. It's more putting out some fertile ground for people to share.
Organic.
Yeah. Go ahead, Tim.
Yeah, one thing I'd like also, I do love that so often some of the questions that you bring into this space and into these conversations are ones that have directly evolved or come from the services and the Dharma talks and the conversations that happen in the hallways, all of those things that, yeah, it's just really great to have a continuation of that.
Yeah. Yeah. It has been a good space for those sort of topics. And being open to what comes up, being welcoming to whoever is co-hosting, but also having that. I think the biggest lesson maybe I've learned from this is the importance of authenticity. Being Because it's not just on this podcast either. It's our song, and I think it's who and how we try to be now, and that's the gift that we have to give, and that's the gift that we get because
Yes.
it's true. It's been so nice on this podcast to have different people on and finding that's the intersection that we're meeting, where we're meeting them is, hey, this is authentic. And it's okay if you feel differently about something, but we really haven't run into that. Of course, it's never been a show about us versus them. It's never
Mhm.
been, but we're not opposed to whatever view somebody wants to share. And I think that's a real strength. Yeah.
I think that's really important that we keep being that example of what it means to be completely yourself and raw and real and open. And if we just keep doing that, then when people come on here, they're going to feel comfortable being themselves, being in that beginner's mind. And instead of everything being scripted, it can be, okay, I'm just going to be myself. And you're really good at helping people feel relaxed and being themselves here.
Do you guys see a correlation between the use of technology like a podcast and just where Western Buddhism is today?
Yeah, a lot of opportunities to practice in that, right? There's so many challenges that are unique to the time that we're living in. Even thinking about how some of this became more prevalent following COVID, where we all were in lockdown and we had to use technology to maintain our connections. And for me, it was really a time of questioning what was important, coming to that realization that my relationships were the number one thing in my life, the thing that kind of filled my days. And to suddenly have an absence of that, yeah, you have to seek out how you can create that in any given situation. And I think technology has come to meet those times, but now we're in an inverse state where how do we return into the world and live in unity and community with each other after having been in our algorithms and our bubbles? And yeah, there's some very unique things that we're navigating, and I think having a practice in the midst of that is really relevant.
And Western Buddhism is so new to the West that it's just such a great platform for people to get more information about what Western Buddhism is. So I think in that way, we're really offering a wonderful opportunity for people to tune in to what we're doing here in Kansas City. And because there's just not that many places where people can go and be with Sangha like this. This is unique.
Right.
I mean, Jen and I moved from Michigan because we didn't have anything up there. So I know that people are tuning in to Jen's post-service discussion every week because they just look so forward to that communal time, that Sangha time together, because they live in other parts of the world or other parts of this country, or they're not feeling well that day, they're homebound or something. And then other little sanghas are breaking out on this platform as well. So yeah, book discussions and things like that. So I think it's fascinating, and I'm really excited that we have this technology to keep us all connected.
Oh, go ahead, Tim.
I was just going to ask you the same question, though, Whit. Curious what your journey has been and how things have evolved for you. You've been here for every one of these, and it's been a journey. How do things feel right now, and what have you learned and grown in?
It's been tremendous. You have to be a little bit careful because you come on and you record and you create something and you want it to be quality. I think that's fair. We've done a nice job of steering away from let's track how many people listen and what could we do to make this more popular. We'd certainly like to reach as many people that need or want to hear this, but it's never been about generating popularity or adjusting anybody's opinion or making dollars or anything like that. So that's helped it remain, again, authentic and raw and real and dedicated to Western Buddhism and meditation and community. And it's also had that same effect on me, I think. I think it's really helped my practice because I don't know where the shows are going to go, but a lot of times, every show, frankly, hit on something new, something that wasn't planned, something that's a surprise, at least a little bit, to those of us putting this together. And I found that to be really refreshing. It's really helped me grow. I'm glad that people enjoy it. It's always odd when somebody comes up and says, "Hey, I recognize your voice," or "I love the show," or things like that, because there's that ego piece that you want to be careful of. But I think we've done a pretty good job of that. I really do. So that's been the biggest thing for me, though, is having on these different people. It almost always comes back to awareness, acceptance, authenticity. And we're bringing that. I don't know that I've had or that we've had any co-hosts that haven't embraced that and really tried to live it. We've had such good support from Victor and Robert and from some of the guest speakers at TBC and the Sangha itself.
Somebody came up to me today and she said that she just loved the show and wanted to make sure that I knew that she appreciated that we do this and that she has something to listen to on her drive to TBC on Sundays. And she looks forward to each episode. And it's nice to hear. We're here just in case people need it for some reason, just to tune in. It's a gift. It's a real gift to our community.
I think the Sangha does feel that way. And I know it feels that way to the three of us. We spend a lot of time. There's some work involved for sure, but I always enjoy once we get together and I enjoy talking about it. And I love where the conversations go, to Tim's point earlier. There have been times, almost every time we get together and start talking about the show, there's a point where it's like, we should have recorded this. This is who we are and what we do. So let me ask you guys this. We're getting a little bit close to the end of this historic 50-second episode. Where do you see the podcast going? What's next year going to look like, you hope?
I kind of imagine that maybe some of those conversations that we wish we had recorded, that we might start being more experimental with where and when we record. Sometimes I feel like as we gather after a service or things, there might be opportunities to be able to reflect and continue the conversations. And really, honestly, for me, and at least in relation to this, I feel very open. I'm curious to see where it goes, and also letting go of the idea that I know. It's almost becomes a practice as well, where I'm not letting go of the ambition and just having the curiosity about what comes next.
Live from the void, it's on the range.
Yes.
Yeah, and you know what, Tim, as you said that, maybe it's recording this live or with a group after a service. That would be something to consider. I like it when we do a group. I think it's pretty amazing how far we've come as a team. Tim, you obviously had experience and you were obviously I think it was obvious, you were the person who laid down the track, so to speak, for what we were doing. But Steph, don't you feel that way? We've grown quite a bit. We've gotten a lot better at this.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. I'm so grateful to Tim. Tim, you taught me everything I know. You taught me how to do this and how to use the software that I now use and how to blend different tracks together. And I follow the guideline that you laid out for me. Where I see myself going for the next year for on the Range is I want to set up like you have, Tim. And I'd like to have a really nice tech system here in the house because I do love it. I love contributing in this way, and I've always been a little bit techie. So I see you as my tech guru. So I'm hoping that once I get more settled in here at the house in my space, I'd like to get more set up and
Yeah.
take some more tutoring from you. And who knows, we could end up, using video eventually, or like you said, having group discussions after the service. I love that idea.
Yeah, well, thank you for the kind words, too. I think for me, one of the joys of this process, too, is that I've been in IT for many years, but a lot of the things I've done have not really filled my heart space. So to be able to bring some of that into this space, and to be able to help and do things with the people I care about and for causes I care about has been really meaningful. So thank you for that. It's really been a gift to work with that. And I want those things for you too. So we'll make them happen. And thank you so much.
Oh, thank you, Tim. Well, I really appreciate you. Appreciate your generosity of spirit, your talent, and your experience. It's just been so valuable in this process.
I think the thing that maybe has surprised me the most has been how much I've enjoyed working with both of you in particular. Also, everyone else who's supported and been on the show. Again, Victor, Robert, Jordan, who generally is always up for co-hosting and has done such a great job. But while that sounded like a backhanded compliment, I just mean that our friendship has grown as the show has kind of grown, and that's been great. And I see that continuing. So here's where we're at. We got about just a couple of minutes. I'm going to give you each a chance to give us a wrap up of how the first year's been, if you'd like. Steph, you want to go first?
I think that the thing that I want to see come out of this first year is a T-shirt that says "Bob says Poffle."
We almost need a top 10 of the quotes from the show, but so we'd have to go back and listen to them all. But yeah, Bob says Poffle is a good one. That could certainly happen. What
Yeah,
about you, Tim?
Really, I think you said it so well. It's just the opportunity to get to interact with other members of community in the ways that we have has been wonderful. Getting to grow in my friendship with everyone involved, with you two, with the other folks that I've had the pleasure of having conversations with. It's really, for me, it has been just an extension of community. And in those ways, I'm excited to see not just how this grows, but how other opportunities grow from the Sangha and from this journey that we're all on together. So for me, it's just, I'm just excited to see what comes next. It's been a wonderful year and looking forward to more.
Well, again, really want to thank you both. You've really been great friends, incredibly talented, incredibly giving. Love you both. I think we've got it set up so we can continue to grow it and be even more supportive to our Sangha, to ourselves, and to Western Buddhism and meditation. So thank you both. I want to take this opportunity also to thank our listeners. It's been a tremendous ride. We've really enjoyed this first year. Going forward, what we're going to do is we're going to give ourselves the month of August off to retool a little bit. So we will rejoin season 2, episode 53. We'll come out early September, and that'll, like I said, give us a chance to kind of get a better focus on what we want to do in season 2, although it'll probably be quite a bit like this one. I just want to thank you both again and thank all of our listeners. This has been a tremendous ride, and if you want to leave us comments or find us, you can do so on Spotify, on YouTube, or you can email us at omontherangepodcast@gmail.com. This is Whit, Steph, and Tim signing off for episode 52, our 1-year anniversary. Wishing you
happy trails.
Thanks to our On the Range production team for making this program possible, and to Mr. Brad Athey for composing and performing the original music. And to you, our listeners, Thank you for being a part of this journey as we explore meditation, Western Buddhism, and the path towards a happier, healthier life. Remember, less suffering and more joy are available to everyone. It just takes practice. Until next time, stay grounded, stay kind, and keep finding peace in the simple, practical things. For all of us here at Om on the Range, happy trails.